What viewers saw on television often looked effortless. The laughter seemed natural, the sketches flowed smoothly, and the performers appeared perfectly in sync. Yet behind that polished surface, the reality was sometimes far more complicated. In fact, during one moment in production, something went so wrong that it left a permanent mark on Carol Burnett. The beloved star of classic television comedy, known for her warmth and generosity, quietly made a firm personal decision about one of her co-stars. Even though she was widely respected for maintaining a positive and professional atmosphere on set, this particular experience affected her so deeply that she later said she would never work with that individual again. The public rarely saw the tension that unfolded, but for Burnett it became a powerful reminder of how important respect and professionalism were in the workplace. Carol Burnett's rise to prominence represents one of the most influential success stories in television history. Her legendary program, The Carol Burnett Show, aired from 1967 until 1978 and fundamentally changed the landscape of comedy on television. At a time when most comedy programs were led by male hosts, Burnett broke through that barrier and became the first woman to headline a long-running variety series on a major television network. Her presence not only challenged existing norms, but also opened doors for future generations of female entertainers. Broadcast on CBS, the show quickly developed into a cultural phenomenon. Audiences across the country eagerly tuned in each week, making the program one of the most beloved series of its era. What made it stand out was its creative blend of different comedic elements. Instead of relying on a single format, the show combined sketch comedy, musical performances, elaborate parodies, and spontaneous, unscripted moments. The result was a style that felt fresh, lively, and unpredictable. Much of the program's success came from Burnett's unique performance style. She possessed a rare ability to balance emotional openness with fearless physical comedy. One moment she might be performing exaggerated slapstick humor, while the next she could slip into a deeply nuanced character portrayal. This versatility allowed the show to appeal to a remarkably wide audience. Families, young viewers, and older fans alike found something to enjoy in the performances. Equally important was the program's ensemble cast. The show featured an extraordinary group of performers, including Harvey Korman, Vicki Lawrence, Tim Conway, and Lyle Wagner. Each brought their own distinctive comedic talents to the stage, and together they formed a dynamic team whose chemistry was unmistakable. Burnett actively encouraged collaboration among the cast. Rather than insisting that every line be delivered exactly as written, she created an environment where performers felt free to experiment and improvise. If someone broke character or made a mistake during a sketch, the moment was rarely edited out. Instead, those unscripted reactions often became some of the funniest moments in the show. Audiences loved seeing the cast struggle to keep a straight face as laughter erupted during filming. These genuine reactions created a sense of authenticity that viewers found refreshing. At a time when many television comedies were tightly scripted and carefully controlled, The Carol Burnett Show stood apart by embracing spontaneity and human imperfection. Burnett herself became famous for portraying a wide variety of unforgettable characters. Many of the show's most memorable sketches involved humorous parodies of classic films and dramatic television programs. In particular, her elaborate spoofs of historical dramas became legendary. These performances revealed her sharp comedic instincts and her willingness to poke fun at stories that were normally treated with seriousness and prestige. Beyond comedy, Burnett also demonstrated impressive musical talent. Having trained on Broadway, she possessed a strong and expressive singing voice. The musical segments of the show highlighted this ability and reminded audiences that she was not just a comedian, but a versatile performer capable of moving between acting, singing, and comedic storytelling. One of the most distinctive elements of The Carol Burnett Show was the emotional connection Burnett created with viewers. At the end of many episodes, she would step forward and speak directly to the audience. These brief but heartfelt messages felt personal and sincere, something that was rarely seen on network television at the time. By combining humor with genuine warmth, she built a lasting bond with millions of viewers. The success of the show was undeniable. It received numerous Emmy Awards and has continued to be regarded as a gold standard for sketch comedy. Many later television programs adopted similar elements, including ensemble casts, improvisational humor, and character-driven sketches. Through her groundbreaking work, Burnett not only secured her own legacy, but also reshaped the entire direction of television comedy. However, the friendly atmosphere that audiences saw each week did not always reflect the reality behind the scenes. Like any creative workplace, the show occasionally experienced moments of tension. Even in an environment filled with laughter, disagreements, and frustrations sometimes surfaced. One of the most significant conflicts involved Burnett and one of her most prominent co-stars, Harvey Korman. During the 1970s, when the show was at the height of its popularity, an incident occurred that revealed both the pressures of producing weekly television and Burnett's strong leadership style. By the time the program reached its 7th season, the cast had developed an impressive level of teamwork. Rehearsals were often filled with laughter, and the performers had developed a rhythm that made their chemistry appear effortless on screen. Nevertheless, even the most successful productions can experience moments of strain. In her memoir, In Such Good Company, Burnett later described a challenging situation involving Korman. Although he was widely admired for his exceptional comedic timing and theatrical flair, his behavior during rehearsals began causing concern. According to Burnett's account, he had been rude toward guest performers and even toward some members of the regular cast. Whether the behavior resulted from stress, frustration, or impatience was never entirely clear. What was certain, however, was that it began to affect morale on the set. For Burnett, this issue went beyond a single unpleasant moment. As both the star and producer of the show, she felt responsible for maintaining the cooperative atmosphere that had made the program successful. Guest stars often joined the production for individual episodes, stepping into a well-established ensemble. Burnett believed it was essential that they be treated with respect and kindness. Allowing anyone to disrupt that environment, no matter how talented, would undermine the collaborative spirit that defined the show. Determined to address the problem, Burnett confronted Korman directly. The conversation was neither casual nor indirect. Instead, she spoke to him firmly and clearly about the issue. In fact, she later revealed that she even contacted his agent and informed him that Korman was being fired. This dramatic move demonstrated how seriously she viewed professionalism. Her message was unmistakable. No performer, regardless of their importance to the show, had the right to treat others poorly. Yet the story did not end with bitterness or resentment. Rather than escalating into a long-term feud, the confrontation became a turning point. Korman reportedly took time to reflect on the situation and recognized the seriousness of his actions. Soon afterward, he apologized for his behavior. When he returned to work the following week, his attitude had noticeably improved. The tension on set faded, and the friendly atmosphere that audiences loved quickly returned. In the end, the incident reinforced the importance of professional boundaries while allowing the working relationship to continue successfully. Another complex chapter in Burnett's career involved her relationship with Vicki Lawrence. Their partnership began during Lawrence's teenage years when Burnett discovered her talent and welcomed her into the show's ensemble cast. Over time, Lawrence evolved from a promising young performer into one of the show's most recognizable stars. Her portrayal of the outspoken character Mama became incredibly popular with audiences. Eventually, the character became the centerpiece of the long-running sitcom Mama's Family, which further established Lawrence's fame and independence as a performer. For many years, Burnett and Lawrence appeared to share a close bond that extended beyond professional collaboration. Their relationship often seemed almost familial, built on years of working together and supporting each other's careers. However, the early 1980s brought a period of significant emotional upheaval. Burnett's marriage to television producer Joe Hamilton, who had played a key role in producing her variety show, came to an end after more than 20 years. The divorce was deeply painful and emotionally draining. When a long-term relationship dissolves, especially one that is closely connected to professional life, the effects can ripple outward in unexpected ways. According to Lawrence's later reflections, Burnett withdrew emotionally during that difficult period. This withdrawal was not necessarily directed toward Lawrence personally. Instead, Burnett distanced herself from individuals associated with Hamilton's productions and their shared professional history. Because Lawrence's career had been closely tied to projects produced by Hamilton, she unintentionally found herself included in that circle of distance. As the years passed through the 1980s and into the 1990s, communication between the two women gradually diminished. There was no dramatic confrontation or public hostility. Instead, their once close connection simply cooled, replaced by silence and separation. Fans who remembered their joyful on-screen partnership rarely noticed the change. Yet privately, it represented a complicated and emotional chapter for both performers. Fortunately, time has a way of softening old wounds. As the years passed and emotions settled, Burnett and Lawrence eventually reconnected. Their long history together, including countless sketches, tours, and shared career milestones, proved stronger than the distance that had separated them. Eventually, they reconciled and rebuilt their friendship with a deeper understanding of one another. Another moment that attracted public attention occurred decades later and involved fellow comedian Joan Rivers. By the early 2000s, both Burnett and Rivers had already achieved legendary status in American comedy. Yet their comedic styles were very different. Burnett built her reputation through ensemble sketch comedy, musical variety performances, and character-driven humor. Rivers, by contrast, became famous for her bold stand-up routines that featured celebrity commentary and sharp insult humor. One memorable interaction between them occurred during an episode of the reality television series Joan and Melissa, Joan Knows Best. In the scene, Rivers approached Burnett while she was dining. What could have been a friendly reunion between two iconic comedians quickly developed an awkward atmosphere. Rivers began making jokes about plastic surgery and personal relationships, topics she frequently used in her comedy routines. However, in this setting the humor did not seem to land comfortably. Burnett responded politely but cautiously, and her reactions appeared restrained rather than playful. Observers later described the exchange as reflecting a subtle tension between the two performers. Importantly, there was no clear evidence of a serious feud. The discomfort likely reflected differences in comedic style rather than personal hostility. Burnett's humor tended to focus on characters and storytelling, while Rivers often used sharp personal commentary. Those contrasting approaches may have made their interaction feel slightly uneasy. Another topic that has sparked curiosity among fans involves Burnett's absence from Saturday Night Live. When the show premiered in 1975 under producer Lorne Michaels, it quickly became one of the most influential comedy programs of its generation. Yet long before Saturday Night Live achieved fame, Burnett had already demonstrated the power of sketch comedy on primetime television. Many elements that later became hallmarks of SNL, ensemble performances, audience spontaneity, and character-based humor, had already been perfected on The Carol Burnett Show. For that reason, many fans have wondered why Burnett has never hosted the show. Over the decades, SNL has welcomed actors, musicians, comedians, and even political figures as guest hosts. Despite her legendary status, Burnett has never officially appeared in that role. She has occasionally mentioned the situation in interviews, expressing curiosity about why the invitation never arrived. Burnett has suggested that stylistic differences may be the reason. Her theatrical style of comedy differs from the faster, more topical humor often seen on Saturday Night Live. Lorne Michaels has never indicated any personal conflict between them, and the situation appears to reflect broader changes in comedic trends rather than a personal disagreement. Despite occasional rumors of feuds, Burnett has also clarified that she never had conflicts with fellow legends such as Julie Andrews or Lucille Ball. In fact, she has spoken warmly about both women throughout her career. Her friendship with Julie Andrews began during their early days in the New York theater scene of the late 1950s and early 1960s. Burnett admired Andrews' extraordinary voice and stage presence, and over time their professional respect developed into genuine friendship. Similarly, Lucille Ball played a significant role in inspiring Burnett's career. Long before Burnett became famous, Ball had already transformed television through the success of I Love Lucy. Watching Ball's fearless physical comedy convinced Burnett that women could command both creative and business leadership in the entertainment industry. Rather than viewing Ball as a competitor, Burnett regarded her as a trailblazer who helped pave the path for future performers. The relationship between them reflected admiration and mentorship rather than rivalry. In the end, the stories surrounding Carol Burnett's career reveal not only moments of tension, but also resilience, growth, and lasting respect. Her legacy extends far beyond a single television show. Through her groundbreaking work, she helped redefine what comedy on television could be and opened new opportunities for generations of performers who followed.